You know, we always think the story's over once the big bad is defeated. But what happens the day after the world is saved? Today, we're diving into how the end of one massive war can be the start of so many others, not fought with swords and magic, but inside the hearts of the very heroes who won.
And this one line from the prologue, it captures everything. I mean, victory is never clean, right? It always has a cost, paid in scars you can see, and, more importantly, scars you can't. The Great War might be over, but for our heroes, the personal battles are just getting started.
So, how does this all kick off? Well, right after sealing away the Dark Dragon Armageddon, our heroes aren't throwing a parade. Nope, they're in a hospital, dealing with the raw physical cost of what it took to win.
I mean, just look at the difference here. It's night and day. On one hand, you've got Aurora, who's gonna be fine. But then there's Rhys, the guy who literally transformed to save everyone, and he's burned through almost his entire life force. He's the one who paid the price, and now he is just barely hanging on.
Okay, and this is where things get really weird. While Rhys is lying there, basically on death's door, Aurora gets into trouble and starts drowning in a lake. At that exact same moment, miles away, Rhys bolts upright in his hospital bed with just one thought: part of me is dying. This isn't just a fluke, it's this deep metaphysical bond that just snaps him awake.
And he doesn't even hesitate. That connection guides him, and he goes from practically dead to a full-on rescue mission in minutes. He finds Aurora, dives in, slays this underwater beast called a Kagua Serpentia, and brings her back. This one single act just cements his fundamental role in this story. He is her protector, driven by an instinct he doesn't even fully get yet.
All right, so Rest is back. He's a hero, but saving the world doesn't exactly get him a ticker-tape parade. In fact, it does the opposite. The very power that made him a savior is now the thing that's making him an outcast.
And this quote from a classmate? Wow, it says everything you need to know. Back at school, nobody sees a friend anymore. They see a weapon, something to be scared of. It's like people literally part like the Red Sea when he walks down the hall. His own heroism has built a wall around him.
So that begs the question, right? If you're so powerful that people are afraid of you, how do you ever connect with them again? How do you tear down a wall you never even wanted to build? And the answer the story gives? Well, it's not what you'd think.
Yeah? His solution? It's to challenge the entire class to a fight, a full-on battle royale. The story gets super meta here, it almost breaks the fourth wall. But in all that chaos, something amazing happens. His classmates see his spirit, and they stop seeing a monster. They're reminded of their fallen friend Jared. He proves he's one of them, not by hiding his power, but by sharing the fight with them.
Okay, so Race is starting to fix his social life, but now we have to dive into the really messy stuff, the internal conflicts. We're talking about the battles of love, duty, and promises that are just haunting these characters.
And this is Aurora's big struggle. Laid out plain and simple. She's bound by this incredibly serious promise she made to her dead mentor, to look after his son. But her heart is pulling her towards Rhys. She is absolutely torn between her loyalty to the past and what her heart is screaming at her right now.
And of course, all this drama has to explode somewhere, right? It all happens at what was supposed to be a celebration dinner. But with all the tension between Rhys, Aurora, Shin, and Iraza, it's basically a powder keg just waiting for a match.
And here's the match. Iraza, who's got a thing for Rhys, is mad that he went to get Aurora. She just unloads on Shin, who, by the way, was just trying to protect her feelings. And with that one outburst, the whole night just falls apart.
But for Shin, man, this is more than just devastating. For him, what Iraza said isn't just some dinner party argument, it cuts right to the core of a pain he's been hiding his whole life. To understand why this is so soul-crushing for him, we have to dig into his past.
So let's peel back the layers on Shin, because Shin isn't even where his story began. Before that, he was a ghost, an orphan with no name, forged in a world of hardship, and his story is completely tangled up with Irasa's.
You see, the Phantom Thief, that wasn't just some cool alias. It was everything he was. He was a ghost, a legend in the Maelstrom Thieves Guild, a kid with no name, just the number 0. He survived on nothing but his skill and his silence.
This timeline really puts it all into perspective. For years, he was just 0, a number, not a person. Then, 5 years ago, he meets Iraza. She sees past the thief and gives him a real name, Shin, which means truth. She gave him his humanity back. So when she rejects him now, having completely forgotten him,
It's like his entire identity is being erased all over again.
Okay, so after all that pain and hidden history, where are we now? They might have survived Armageddon, but their emotional futures are a total mess.
Well, they're basically stuck in this massive emotional traffic jam. Rhaenys has laid his cards on the table, but he's in a holding pattern. Aurora loves him, but is chained to a promise. Shin is completely heartbroken, and Arasa, she's just confused and angry, with no idea she's at the center of all his pain. But in the middle of all this chaos, we get this one solid, unwavering moment from Rhays. He's like the anchor here. While everyone else is lost at sea, wrestling with their pasts and their feelings, he knows exactly where he stands.
And that really brings us to the core question of this whole story, a question that every single one of these characters is facing. When your past demands your loyalty, but your heart is screaming for the truth, which promise do you break? There's no easy answer, is there? And that, right there, is the real battlefield.